Seconds Out, Ayman Khan here with Dave Coldwell. Dave, we just witnessed the return of Joshua Buatsi going the distance against Pawel Stepien. What do you make of his performance?
Beforehand, I didn't think it was going to go the distance. In fact, I'm in with my wife and I kind of told her that this shouldn't be too long. We'll be off. It looked like a fighter that's just getting a feel for things again, practicing things that he's working with Virgil, but a fighter that could have gone through more gears. And he kept allowing him to get back into the fight and feeling as though he was still in the fight, even though he wasn't, just by getting caught with stupid shots. The one thing that I've always said about Buatsi that concerns me for him when he steps up the levels is how often he gets caught with that right hand. He's had it all the way through his career. That was the shot that always he cashes with. And tonight was the same. But he's from the outside looking in. You don't know what they're working on, what they're preparing for, because they're thinking about bigger fights. So if there are things that Virgil's wanting Josh to be doing in fights, in the big fights, he's having to get comfortable with trying things out. That might be what this fight is all about. Sometimes that's the picture, but the unfortunate thing is if you're main eventing on a massive platform like Sky and you're making a big deal about going onto that platform, you then have to kind of like deliver. One thing we know that is that Buatsi is a spiteful puncher, and when he smells blood, he's like a shark, but we kind of didn't see that tonight.
For the back of the performance and other performances you've seen of Joshua Buatsi, what do you make of his chances against the likes of Yard, Aziz, Callum Smith?
I think I would like to see the Yard fight. I think, Yard, Callum Smith, they're the good fight. Callum Smith's probably going to be a bit more difficult to make now. I think Callum's fighting Biev, so that's on the back burner. But Anthony Yard, why not? For me, that's a really, really good fight. And Yard's fought a couple of times at the elite level, not just top level. He's been right there at the top, right at the highest level. Gave a good account of himself both times. Buatsi hasn't yet, but his career's going and going and going, and it's time now for him to get into the big fights, have that bit of danger about it, and I think it's a perfect time for that fight.
Let's put you on the spot. Who do you favour of the two?
It's a very difficult one. I'm a big fan of. I've always been a big fan of Buatsi, but even though the fights that he's lost, I think the two real big, the Kovalev performance, he showed the inexperience, but then the BF performance, I'm a massive fan of Yard's as well, and I think he's got a lot of good attributes that you would see there could cause Buatsi big problems. I don't know who wins that fight. That's what I want to see. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I don't know who wins that fight. That's the fight I want to see. Forget about everything else. Bivol's going to go off and do his own thing, probably get Canelo. Let's get that fight done. There's no reason for it not to be made.
Two things to rush through and let you go. First of all, featuring on the undercard, Ben Whittaker, who came out in a very reminiscent to Naz walkout. Someone everyone knows, and obviously in your area knows very, very well too. Is the Naz tag something you want? Not to say that it's a bad tag to have, but he's on his own path.
Listen, it's what he's comfortable with. He's obviously very, very comfortable with it, and if that fits him, then it's like clothes. You see somebody wearing something and you think, oh, that's wicked, that's mint. You put it on yourself, it don't quite look the same. You don't have that same sort of feeling. If the Naz thing suits him, obviously he's comfortable with it. Why not run with it? That's his personality. Is it everybody's cup of tea? No. I don't mind the show business and stuff like that. I don't mind all that. But I also think levels. You're in with a guy that you wouldn't have as a sparring partner. Let's be honest, and that's no disrespect to his opponent, but you're talking about levels. Ben Whittaker's elite, elite prospect potential. That's what they're looking at. They're not myself, the promoters, the team that he's got with him. He's with Sugar Hill, elite level coach. He's got everything packaged around him to become an elite level fighter. That's what they're hoping of. They wouldn't be getting that guy in for sparring. So when you're fighting that guy, as you fight back, you're fighting that guy, then you can't be on the first shot then clowning him and things like that, because it's the levels. Let's be realistic. So that's my only gripe with that. But as he steps up the levels, if he's fighting Bivol and people like that and doing stuff, fair play. If you can back that up, fair play. That's the person, and that's what people want to see. People want to see that divisive character. Is it somebody that you like? Is it somebody that you turn up to want to support, or is it somebody that you want to see get beat? We need characters like that, and he's a great character. I don't mind that.
Transition from one as comparison to another, he once famously said, which camera do I need to look to tell Chris Eubank Jr. to retire? If Liam Smith does get the victory again over Chris Eubank Jr. in the rematch, is that call going to be stronger for Chris Eubank Jr. to retire? Is he done at that highest level?
Is at the high, yeah. I mean, he's it's not a case of it's like retire, but you'd have to say stage of careers, age, the money that he's made. You know, what would be his motivation to carry on if he was to get beat by Liam Smith? Then if that's the case, then you know it probably will retire. But he'll probably chase a Conor Benn fight, maybe. You know, that's what they all seem to be talking. But yeah, other than a financial package, what would be his motivation?
Conor Benn spoke to my colleague Radio Raheem and he said, look, I apologise for the way I reacted to the British public after the news came out. Did you see that apology? Is that an apology that you maybe accept considering what's happened?
It's not my you know, it's nothing to do with me whether I accept the apology. He's not apologising to me as such. It's just the whole the change in demeanour and personality is nice. It's refreshing. That's how it should be, because it's nobody else has done anything wrong. It's like attacking everybody else for believing two results on a test that we're informed with. You can't really you can't criticise people for that. But he's apologised, fair enough, but still got to go through procedure. You know, show that documents to UCAD, to the board, whatever. I believe that's what they're doing now. Maybe if they'd done that in the early stages, then things would have moved on quicker. There wouldn't have been as massive a backlash, and then you just move on. But you know, it is what it is. I'm sick of talking about it, to be honest, because nothing's kind of like moving. We don't know anything. It's just the change in attitudes changed, which is nice, which is how it should be, to be fair.
Moving on to my final two questions. First of all, it seems like Tyson Fury is now on the trajectory to fight Zhilei Zhang, who we saw upset Joe Joyce. Can you see another upset in the offing for Zhilei Zhang?
No, I don't. You can't. Zhang's a big, strong, tough heavyweight, yes, but everybody's all of a sudden on the back of Joe Joyce is a monster. He wasn't seen as a monster before. You know, he's very limited. A guy that gasses, can be it. Yes, he's very heavy-handed, but not seen as an A-class heavyweight. He's beaten Joe Joyce in a fight which was great to watch, but it's a fight where Joe Joyce's lack of defence is something that we've always talked about, was kind of exposed in that fight. Not exposed, but it just brought to the forefront of what the problems are if you just rely on a good chin and work rate to win a fight. That doesn't then mean that he is all of a sudden become this beast that's going to beat the top guys in the division.
Final question. Joshua versus Deontay Wilder seems, if the rumours are true, to be set for the summer. A lot of people, Thomas Hauser wrote an article, said the best thing for Joshua is to retire. He doesn't want to see him take fights against Fury or Joshua because of the risk involved. Do you share any sort of sentiment there, especially with the Wilder fight looming?
When fighters don't take big fights, they get criticised, they get slated, and fans are like, UFC is this because everybody's fighting, the best are fighting the best, they don't care if they get beat, they come back, blah, 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 they're in another big fight. When a boxer loses a couple of fights, everyone says retire. It's all based on what is Anthony Joshua's desire. Will he still train with the same intensity? Will he still open his mind to learn with the same capacity as what he always has done to try and make himself better? Or is he just going to go in there just for the money when he's got shitloads of money already? If that's the case, then you say, mate, retire. You don't need to take that fight. You don't need to get hurt. You don't need to run that risk. But fighters improve from losses. I would say it's fair to say, although he got beat in both fights, it would be fair to say that he made adjustments in the second Usyk fight, which made he actually look better. So he's lost to an elite level fighter. Just give him 1 minute. I'll be those. So I don't get that. I don't get that. You know, it's not like he's had war after war after war. There are plenty of fighters, plenty of Mexicans. I'm sure Thomas Hauser commentated on, wrote about Arturo Gatti and people like that, where they're having wars and wars and wars. Come on, a bit over the top.
Dave, good conversation. Here's your name being called. Thanks for speaking to Seconds Out, sir.
Cheers, mate.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.